Okay, so this is my feasibility study, and I am looking at the effectiveness of mindfulness based interventions in reducing suicidal ideations in veterans. So, for step one, it's conduct a preliminary analysis. So, does this practice or study serve a currently unserved need? And I would say yes, the rate of suicide in veterans is significantly higher than that of the civilian population. So, for example, the rate of suicide in veteran women is about 35 in every 100,000 people. Does the practice or study serve an existing market in which demand exceeds supply? And again, I would say yes. Resources are not readily available in the VA, healthcare systems, or hospitals just due to a lack of mental health personnel and just an overall lack of concern regarding crisis interventions. And then lastly, can the practice successfully compete with existing practices such as better design, price, location, or availability? And I would say yes, by providing more resources to the veteran population that address mental health concerns, the study will be able to compete with existing practices because there is currently a lack of resources. Okay, so are capital requirements for entry or continuing operations unavailable or unaffordable? The answer to that is no. And does your study or project require capital expenditure requirements or a large cost? So, no, the cost of creating online surveys is free, and that is what I plan to do to conduct the study. And then, do any factors prevent effective marketing or real world impact to any referral sources or recipients of your new knowledge or findings? So, no, there should be no issue addressing marketing or anything like that since this affects the veteran population and this is a large population. I don't think there will be any issues accessing this population. Okay, so step two is to prepare a projected income statement. So essentially, the cost to conduct this study should be free. So by providing the veteran population with online surveys, there should be no extra cost to conduct the study. Step three is going to be to conduct a market survey. So, what are some geographic influences on the market or recipients of the OT services? There is actually a need for specialized services in rural areas because research indicates that these areas are associated with less mental health service use. So, that's one geographic influence. Um, some population trends, demographic features, cultural factors, and purchasing power in the community. Research actually shows that there is a trend in who utilizes VA services and who doesn't. So, the research does show that those who did utilize these services typically were black, unmarried females, and they had less income and they were typically less educated. So, analyze a competing service related to your study in the community to determine the strengths and weaknesses. One that I found a lot of is something called universal prevention, and this is just screening, education, reaching out to this population just to address the suicide risk. But and a pro to that would actually be that you do identify who is at risk for suicide. But some cons would be the stigma that's associated with it and just the general follow through following that, just to ensure that this population is receiving the care that they need. So, estimate market expansion opportunities or estimate what you would plan to do with the results of your study. So, I would advocate for the effectiveness of occupational therapy services in reducing suicidal thoughts in veterans by providing these interventions. And new services for this population could include OT services, and those would be included and incorporated by the VA healthcare system. Okay, step four, plan business organization and operations. So, where would the facility be located or designed, and what is the physical space or location needed for me to conduct the study? There would be no physical space needed, except I would need a location that had Wi-Fi so that I could analyze the data since the surveys would be completed online. And then supplies needed since the surveys will be administered to veterans online. All they will really need is a computer and Wi-Fi. Okay, step six is to review and analyze all data. So to re-examine all data and see if it lends itself to an achievable plan within a certain time frame. I think yes, this study can be conducted and analyzed within a few weeks, so it is feasible. Secondly, analyze risk and contingencies. So some risks could include lack of participation from participants, lack of participants in general, and a lack of variety in mental health diagnoses. So lastly, step 7 is to make a go or a no-go decision. So the first question is there a commitment to make the necessary sacrifices in time and effort? And I would say absolutely. This population does not receive the services that they need or deserve, and I am dedicated to making a difference in the treatment process of this population. So, will the activity partially satisfy long term aspirations for me? And I say again, yes, by emphasizing the importance of OT services in the veteran population, there will be a better understanding of the need for resources that address mental health within the VA healthcare system. This will partially satisfy my long term aspirations of contributing to the consistent presence of OT services in the VA healthcare system. So, does this preliminary feasibility study look like it may support my thesis? And I would say yes. There is research that indicates a need for services that address mental health in this population. And what have I learned from conducting this study that I did not already know? I did not know that there were demographic correlations between who requests and who doesn't request services from the VA. I thought that was really interesting. And then, lastly, based off of my analysis, is it a go or is it a no go? And I say it is feasible, so this study is going to be a go. And then here are my references.